Thank you, thank you, Audrey. Hello, 大家好，春节快乐，Happy New Year. So it's my big honor and my pleasure, thanks to the organization of SKEMA Alumni, to organize, give our chance to organize this roundtable event. And thank you to Ludovic and Mr. Fan to accept our invitation. So my name is Jialing. That means fabulous licorne. In Chinese, and thanks to SKEMA, give me the chance to have one wing, and I'm waiting for another to fly in the sky. And the initiative comes from the releasement of the restriction in China last December. You know, during 3 years in China, it was very strict. And then as a sudden, the door was open and the borders was open. So we have the idea to think about how we can bridge Chinese market and China to Europe with SKEMA's platform. That's why today we have the chance to get together here. And the initiatives come from as well our group. We are 4 SKEMA graduated from several years ago. So I was doing MBG, International Business and International Marketing and Business Development, and Haitian was doing Corporation CFM. Yeah, so you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Haitian. So actually, I'm currently at Fund Global, a company who doing investing in funds, and I graduated in 2019. So I'm in corporate financial management. I am so glad to be here to have you all, gathering for the event.
Hello, this is Liu Yi. I was graduate in 2018. I have the same specialist with Haitian and CFN, Corporate Financial Management. Currently, I'm working for Bank of China's home branch. I'm so happy to know you here today. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So I'm one of our initiative and working with Jialing and 3 of them. So I'm Chao Wang, graduate from MA's programs in class of 2018. So currently I'm based in Luxembourg, and I work in the Hamburg commercial banks and as a structured finance analyst. So financing for the mid-caps, corporates, and so on. So I'm very happy to see you make your times, and also for our guests and to join us together. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So I work in the retail. I work for a company named Cubing, and there's many our partners here, and they are as well in the retail. So our guest Ludovic Holinier worked for Auchan China. That's where we have met together in 2019 during a research travel back to China. And then 4 years after, as a sudden, we met together in another event, and the idea come to why we don't organize an event, and you can talk about your experience, you can share your knowledge between China and France. And Mr. Fan was graduated from Tsinghua University, very prestigious university in China, and he successfully drive crowdfunding, fundraising for platform delivery, WAYSIA, for more than 10 million euros. Congratulations, Mr. Fan. And so maybe to start, I give the mic to Mr. Ludovic. So could you have experience in China, from China to France? Could you share a little bit about your experience during this journey? And then we can have the discussion with Mr. Fan. Yeah.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. So yes, I've been working in retail for more than 30 years now. I had the opportunity during my career to work in different countries. I work in France, but mainly abroad in Luxembourg, in the States, in Russia, and in China. Now I'm a CEO of Louis Delhaize Group. So we operate different banners like CORA, Match, Truffaut, Oura in France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Romania. And Louis Delhaize is a Belgium-based company. So I had the opportunity to work in China from 2017 till 2019. It was a very exhilarating experience. I experienced the China speed. It's quite something when you cannot imagine what it is till you experience it. One of my conviction when I went back from China was really to say that regarding digitalization in retail, regarding customer experience, Western retailer were used to look at what's going on in the States, and I think it's now time to look what's going on in China, because you are really China is really setting the trends due to its big market regarding e-commerce, and it's what really I discovered when I was there.
That's why you are on Moto in Paris. That's the reason for that you are in Moto in Paris, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ludovic. So we have the mic for Mr. Fan. So you have been in China and you have lots of experience in banking, in that industry and retail. So could you introduce yourself?
Okay, no problem. Hello, hello everyone. This is Yejun FAN. I will give you a very quick introduction of myself. Actually, I came to France in 2007 to study financial mathematics at École des Mines de Nancy, and I've been working in the finance in BNP Paribas, Société Générale, HSBC for about 8 years until the beginning of 2016. And before I was doing pricing development with C#, VBA, something like that in the banks to do the pricing. And at the beginning of 2016, because the last 2 years I was spending 2 years in New York at BNP Paribas, and suddenly I think I don't like finance, so I decided to quit my job, and then I came back to France and then I started to do startups. So actually, WAYSIA is the 7th or 8th project I've done. Most of them they are dead already. But since the beginning of 2016, I touched the retail a little bit. I touched the internet, and I touched a little bit, you know, the battery station location, and right now it's the WAYSIA. And the WAYSIA was started at 2018 with 5 associates, and the 2 of them they came from SKEMA Alumni. So WAYSIA is part of I think has the connected with SKEMA as well. And at the very beginning of to the first 2 years of WAYSIA, we did restaurant food delivery. It's kind of like Uber Eats or Deliveroo. And since the beginning of 2020, we start our e-grocery business, concentrate on the ethnic communities in Europe. And right now we are concentrate on the Chinese community and the Vietnamese communities. Yes, that's a short presentation of.
Thank you, Mr. Fan. So if Mr. Fan, you start working in retail because you didn't like financial industry, but under Ludovic, so what is your reason for you to work in the retail? So how you start your journey in retail?
How to say it was when I graduated from business school. I'm from Lille. So now Lille is very big for retail with the Mullier family in France. And I had the opportunity during my studies to make an internship with Auchan. I was doing internship with as a management controller in store. And yeah, when I ended my internship, it was quite clear. I say, I want to do that. So I started to do management control in store, and then you know you never know how it's gonna end. So I had a very interesting journey, so very international, and but it was at the beginning what I really like was the autonomy, the responsibilities you can get when you just graduated from school, and food retail and retail in general is still offering such big opportunities and responsibilities to young graduate people. So it's still, I guess, a good way to start your career journey.
Thank you, Ludovic. So we all know that the north of France is where many retailers they were born, right? Even for the luxury, or we call that the grande distribution. Many retailers they are born in the north of France. We can see that compared to Zhejiang province of China. Could we compare for that? If Mr. Fan,
actually, I cannot reply this question because I've never been living in Zhejiang and never been living in Lille, so I will leave Ludovic to reply this question.
okay, yeah.
Well, I believe it's kind of ecosystem. If there is so many retailers in north of France, it was due to the fact that the clothing industry was very, very strong at this time in France, and for the family after the war, it was the Second World War. It was quite obvious to invest into commerce, and I believe that for different reasons. But in Zhejiang province, when the let's say that entrepreneurship was promoted in China, it was also a good way to start entrepreneuring with commerce.
Thank you, Ludovic. So my next question is, both of you has a rich experience in retail from China to France, and what is the biggest challenge that you have encountered, and how do you overcome it? So maybe we can start by, yeah.
But I had during my career different challenge. I had the opportunity to work in many different countries, a lot of developing countries. So one of the main challenge in when you develop very, very quickly a new business, it's really to recruit people, to train them, to retain them. So it was probably one of the main challenge. And when I moved to China, it really changed the way I was looking at retail. I should say that before China, yes, I was talking about e-commerce like everybody since beginning of the 2000s. But I had never experienced in my daily life how digitalization can really change the way you're buying, the way you're living, and it really changed my not my conception, but the way I was seeing retail. And so the main challenge in China was really to adjust to China speed. It's I will tell you a short story. So when I was in China, I was CEO of Sun Art Retail. So Sun Art Retail was the branch of Auchan Group in China. It was a listed company at Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and we signed a partnership with Alibaba at this time, and Alibaba became my second largest shareholder. So I had the opportunity and to meet with Daniel Zhang, the CEO of Alibaba. And the first time we met, he told me, you will see, Ludovic, he said, 1 week in China is like 1 month in France. 1 month in France is like 1 quarter. 1 month in China is like 1 quarter in France, and 1 quarter in China is like 1 year in France. So I say, oh, okay, Daniel. I smile. I say, okay, try to be polite, but yeah, it was like that because there is a really in the way of doing business in China, there is a focus that when you decide to deal with something, you deal with that thing, and you will end when it's finished. So you will really mobilize a lot of resources to start quick and to end quick the project. Not like we are used to in Europe, where we are dealing with so many projects at the same time, and it will never end.
So we can call it in Europe is a pivot. We pivot a lot, but at the end we should find the convergence, right? We should converge to find a one way out. So Mr. Fan, thank you, Ludovic. Mr. Fan, so what is your biggest challenge from China to France?
Yeah, thanks. Actually, I don't have a lot of experience in retail, so I must say that. But from what I experienced during the last few years on my internship years, about 6 or 7 years, I think when I was moving from Paris to New York, I had the experiences that I had the feeling is that United States is a little bit faster, in the innovation something than Europe. But when I came back sometimes from New York to China, and then I feel that the same thing. So at that moment, with e-commerce and with the application, with all the internet applications in China, so I feel that it's a lot more quicker than here. China is a little bit quicker than United States. United States a little bit quicker than Europe. But right now I'm creating, a startup in France, in Europe. What I learned is that sometimes you have to adapt to the reality. You have to because actually it's not you want to develop the business as quickly as you want, because the customer, they don't want to be changed as quickly as you want. But the business, all the business is based on the customer's need. So I think the challenge is just to adapt every country's reality. And I mean that, for instance, our clients, Chinese clients or Vietnamese clients, they might have our applications experience is not as good as the application in China, but they will adapt it. Sometimes it's a challenge, but yeah, there is a way.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fan. So let's go to the next topic. It's the retail and the innovation. So China has driven, especially with Daniel Zhang, Alibaba, so what we call new retail. So maybe with Ludovic, could you answer this question? What's your opinion on the comparison of retail innovation between China and France? We know that many French retailers, they drive and conduct many innovation as well. So how you compare that, and what's your opinion?
The comparison is not easy, but just some fact regarding internet use and e-commerce in China, and it's really important to understand that in order to understand the speed difference between France and China. But there is more than 1 billion internet user every year in China. So let's say that all the adult population, even above 15, is really using internet. The penetration of mobile payment is over 60%. So it means that, and it's very important because payment in your customer journey, when you're buying on e-commerce and on internet, it can be a painful moment, and mobile payment really help dealing with that. And the size of the market, the gross merchandise value of Chinese market, so last figure was 2021, it's in trillion of dollar, and it's twice the size of the US market. So everything is set. It's a big domestic market. Many users still growing, and also it's in Europe. We have to leapfrog from our technological legacy. In China, there is no that. I mean, they just are adopting these new technologies. And also one very important thing, it's the Chinese consumer is much more ready to share its personal data with merchant, only with one condition. If he believes that by sharing his data, he will get a better service. If you're receiving a better service, he's really willing to share its data. And so regarding privacy and data in Europe, the sensibility is a bit different. The European market is big, but it's fragmented. So we are thinking about France, Belgium, Netherlands, and there is big difference inside Europe and inside each country in Europe. So you cannot, let's say, you cannot have a ROI on a big market like in China. So now, if we compare, for sure, the Chinese retailer, they are really setting the trend regarding the fact that it's now O2O, so it's online to offline and offline to online. So it's really to offer an omni-channel experience to customer. 70% of Chinese people are omni-channel customer. So for them, it makes sense to make business with a brand and with banners, either offline or online, and they are not expecting the same experience online and offline. More and more, the technologies that were used on e-commerce are moving to the offline business. So electronic shelf label are very important because it's really a way to have dynamic pricing, to share more information about the product with the customer. It helps also to connect your product on the shelves with your system and with your technology. So to transform on-shelf product like IoT. So you can know the level of inventory where it is in store, and personalization also is very strong, and that we are really way behind China regarding that in Europe and especially in France. When you look at the penetration of food delivery in France, even it's the biggest and the biggest growing market for internet. Nevertheless, in food, home delivery still account for less than 5% of the market.
Yeah, thank you, Ludovic. So, Mr. Fan, so what's your opinion? Maybe you are working in delivery industry, so maybe you can give us any insight between how it is organized in China and how it is organized in France.
Yeah,
because I have already ordered many delivery in France, but sometimes the user experience could be
actually from what I experienced here, there are some not only the condition of the GDPR, self information, something like that. We have to that there are a lot of internet companies in China. They developed without law at the very beginning, so they can use the information, personal information, something like that, to create some different business model. But right now, no matter in Europe or in China, they have developed a lot of laws, to control this type of thing. But here in France, not only this GDPR, something like that, it will. We have to follow all these laws, and plus the lack of labors, lack of for some delivery, especially for the delivery, for the logistic companies, because in China, we still have a lot more laborers, but here the labor is not really enough, and the average the cost is higher. So that's why one of the reasons that the e-commerce that in Europe is not really, the penetration is still very low, and it could not be developed as fast as in China. So that's the reality. Yeah. So but I think it's very normal. Yeah.
So what's your inspiration? For example, you are talking about Chinese delivery organization. So have you been inspired from China? And
yeah.
What you are doing in France?
Yeah, of course. Actually, but every business model right now, yes, of course, the penetration in Chinese market is a lot higher than here in France. But every business model, we must adapt to the reality. Adapt to the real need of the client. So, for instance, our business model was inspiring by Meituan, and so it's a Chinese company. But actually, when we are working here, for instance, the client service, that functionality was in our platform. I was inspired by Uber Eats or by Uber, because it's different environment. In China, you could recruit a lot of kind of services to reply as soon as possible, but here we could not. So here, like Uber Eats, I think it's 2 years ago, like Uber Eats, they will give you, a suggestion, a list of questions, and then you can select, touch the button, and then they will drag you to the next step, and you will enter more information, and it's different. Business model, different situation. And here, at the very beginning, I wanted to have a lot more people that work as the kind of services, but finally I abandoned that strategy, and I learned from Uber Eats. Yeah, so it's different. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Fanju. And Ludovic. So have you been inspired something from your journey from China to France?
Yeah, two things. One for our business. So when I arrived and we were thinking about our 3 years strategic plan, we decided that what we call out of the wall business, so developing all the business with customer, not visiting our store physically, was really a big part of our strategic plan. It was mainly our first growth engine for the next 3 years, and so it was in 2019, and based on 2022, we almost doubled the level of sales we were doing on internet. So it was quite successful. So it was really to focus on home delivery, and in May last year we launched our with a monthly fee. You can be delivered every day if you want from our store, and it was also very, very, very successful. So that was a big inspiration from China. And the second one, it's really the way I'm managing my time. So I was talking about focus. And it's really something I learned from China and from Chinese culture. In Europe, we tend to manage, the midterm. So it's 3 years. But finally, to imagine what will happen in 3 years, would say that with COVID, inflation, war, and so on, more and more we know that even what's going to happen the next 6 months, we don't know. And in Chinese culture and Asian culture, you set very long-term targets, and that it's not really moving. I mean, it's where you're going, and it's very important to know where you're going. And then, you will make the smart move you have to make based on the conditions you are experiencing. But it gives you much more agility, because you keep a very long-term vision, And it's 10 years. I even remember in Singapore, the city of Singapore, they've got a 50-year plan. And so Singapore, for those who knows, is the biggest container port on Earth. They already moved the port 3 times. But they've got long-term plans, so if they have to move the port, it's not an issue. They will move it, and it's very important the way you're running your business, the way you're explaining your vision and giving the sense to your team. Being able to have that long-term projection and at the same time to be very focused on short-term, it's very, very important. So it really changed the way I'm managing.
I think your example illustrates very well how to set up a long-term goal and be agile in the meantime. This is so we call it the strategy planification, right? And thank you very much. So, what is your interpretation of new retail? You know, this word is widely used today by all retailers, and how you define it in new retail, and does it new retail is very well implemented in France, and do you have any concrete examples?
For me, new retail, first I really like that expression, because at the when e-commerce was emerging, it was really a way to say, okay, there is old retail and there is e-commerce. No, I think it's e-commerce will bring some tools to reinvent the way you are doing transaction and commerce with your customer, but it's not it will not kill commerce or retail. I mean, when you look on the long term, modern retail was emerging at the end of the 19th century with industrialization revolution, and it changed so many times. At the beginning, it was very small store, no car. Then retail adjust to the fact that the car was really developing and emerging. So we create big commercial center on the suburbs of big cities. Then 20 years ago, people were more staying inside the city. So it was the opposite way. It was a smaller store and convenience store, and it was very popular. And now digitalization, smartphone, mobile payment, but there are tools to reinvent the customer experience, the customer journey, to make your company leaner and faster. So that's new retail for me. It's really to use all the means and technology we have to reinvent customer experience. And also for food, and new retail is also the way you're thinking your business. Either you are thinking for a food retailer, my job is to sell product to my customer, or you say my job is to feed my customer. And for me, it's also what SKEMA banner brought to the market. It was really to say, okay, my business is to have ready to eat, ready to heat, and ready to cook product to offer to my customer. But that, if you can deliver very quickly your customer, you can deliver hot meals, you can deliver fresh milk. If you need 2 or 3 days to deliver your customer, you're not able to offer that kind of product. So new retail is really how you reinvent your mission, thanks to technology. And to finish with your question, is there any good example of new retail in France or in Europe? Not to the same meaning than in China. After, there is very successful retailer. I'm thinking about Decathlon, for instance. Now Decathlon is a really omni-channel retailer. You can order online, you can do click and collect, you can check if the product you want is available in store. They are really using digitalization to change the way customers are shopping and their experience.
Thank you, Ludovic. And I think when Ludovic talked about Hema, let me think about your delivery platform. So I have ordered many times from WAYSIA, and I had a very good experience. So could you share me your perception of new retail and any good examples?
Yeah, as a startupper, I met a lot of startuppers. They want to bring, you know, the new retail or innovation to Europe. There are lots of, you know, entrepreneurs. They want to bring the business model existed already in China, but it's very hard for them. For instance, you can see there are a robot. You know that in China there are many big, you know, restaurants. They have the robot to serve, but here I've already talked with several, you know, provider. They asked me, but you know that in France there are very normally the restaurants they are very the entrances and the couloir it's very small, so it's very hard to use this robot. Sometimes it's not really, you know, adapt the new e-commerce. And for instance, I just met a few months ago the CEO of Hema, of Alibaba in Paris, and I talked with him and our business model, and he just can't understand that why the people they could why you are next day delivery. You know, because right now we are next day delivery. People that they order from our platform and we could deliver next day, because actually it came from the like what I said, it came from the need of the customer. Because for my customer, they were really underserved because they don't have, for the Asian community, they don't have the supermarket very nearby. You know, like in Paris, only a few Asian supermarkets in Dongfeng. So actually, I've like Ludovic said, in our warehouse, we use a lot of digitalization method. We have developed our own warehouse management system. Last mile delivery system is we developed all by our own. So I think that part, especially from the supply chain part, here in Europe, we could learn a lot more from the Chinese market. But if the part is close to the clients, we need to really adapt to a client's need in the real way. Yeah.
I think I just have a question, response on what you have saying, that so normally many delivery platform in France, they outsourced the delivery service. They outsource, yeah. But your company, you organize by yourself. You manage the truck, the drivers by yourself. So this is quite Chinese for me, because JD.com, he organized all the delivery by himself, and for the boss, he think managed by himself, the delivery could be a strengthness. So why in your company you didn't choose the outsourcing of delivery, but manage it by yourself?
Yeah, I think everybody almost here we have the experiences of the, I don't know, perhaps Chronopost or Lapost or something like that. Because if you are not at home, sometimes they will, I don't know, sometimes not well treated your item. So that's why, you know, for the especially when you deliver food, if the people that they could at the very beginning we tried the third-party business, the third-party platform, but actually they will not really care about the food. But the food, if you treat it not well, it will be waste. You know, for us, I have to refund the part to our clients, and so that will increase a lot more cost. But actually, for the food business, we need to concentrate on the clients, need. So we have to control the quality. So the best way is using our own last mile delivery platform, our own coaching track, something like that. Yeah.
If I may, we operate here in Paris, ura.fr, and as I mentioned before, we started to launch also a delivery from our store all over France, and we decided to do it with our own team because retail is about people, it's about customer relation, and finally the delivery man or woman is the only person the customer will from the company the customer will meet, and it's very important to make sure that he will greet the customer, he will have all the right, if there is any issue, he knows how to deal with the situation. And so it's yeah, we at the beginning we thought that third party was the right answer, but for finally to cut cost, to say, okay, we will manage to adjust to the quantity of deliveries, it will be more flexible, but it's so finally it's I don't think it's a good idea to use third party, especially for food or for very different item. After, if you are sending parcels in a card box, like Amazon, or you can send it through the mail.
Thank you, Ludovic. Thank you, Yejun. So let's move to the next slide. Challenges.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcel. Thank you for both for your first topic, the answers. And next, the challenge here, a little bit the question. So I will give you both the most exciting question until now. For me, in terms of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So what affection under for the supply chain? Yeah. Who will pick the first?
Yeah. Alors for our business, yeah. We were really affected by inflation. It did not really change our supply chain. We had very few and almost non-merchandise coming from either Russia or Ukraine, except one, which is gas oil, and but nevertheless we manage and to change where we were buying our oil for our petrol station. But the situation was really about shortage and about inflation. When you look at all the pasta, I mean, it was the best investment, financial investment of last year. It grew from 65%. The cost of 1 kilo of macaroni was up by 65%. The same for oil. So that was we had to adjust, and it took us some months to maintain our margin, and it really hurt our margin at the beginning of this year. And the second one was really about shortage. Just one example, it's about mustard. During the second quarter of last year, it was really tough to find mustard, but it was really, it started on TV, on social network, saying it's going to be a shortage of mustard, and we were receiving a regular volume of mustard, so we had no worries about that, but we almost doubled the volume of sales. Wow. So in fact, what happened, as we were telling people, pay attention, you will not get any mustard in the coming months. They start buying more. Mm-hmm. But I mean, mustard, it's not a big rotation. The industrial system is not so strong. And so finally, after a few weeks, no mustard everywhere. except in the pantry.
Yeah, for sure.
Of
Because
the
I heard
customer.
about a lot of
I think everybody got at least 2 or 3 pots of mustard.
Yeah, it's true. And Yejun, what do you think about the challenging?
Yeah, actually, we are a startup, a small company, so we didn't actually we didn't have a lot of impact by the supply chain during the war, but we are impacted a lot by the supply chain of the funding. Actually, because last year after the war, all the second market they go downstairs, and all the people, all the investments, they stopped just after, I think it's just after a few months. All the environment of the investment in the VC or PE just changed, and it was during that time we were doing the Series A fundraising.
Oh, wow.
So that was a very difficult time, and we have to persuade. Even that we had a growth 3 times during the 1 year, and even we have very good numbers, and even we didn't spend a lot of money, but it's still very difficult at the very beginning to persuade the investors to put more money. So that is the real impact I felt, and most of the yes, and from the next half of the years of 2022, we felt the inflation as well. Yes, all the meat, vegetables, and but actually for the dry foods that we imported from Asia, the cost decreased. Why? Because the ship, the transport fee of the ships decreased a lot.
So that's a good news for you.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think the inflation is continuing, and the funding environment is not really better this year, I think.
So actually, we are lucky because the France meets the inflation rates right now. It's average 8%. In Luxembourg, it's 10%. So we still maybe. What do you think about the inflation in the future, and in course of supply chain?
But last year, inflation for food in France was 14%.
Wow.
And mainly in the second semester of 2022. So we have already a lot of inflation. We have a stock of inflation for the first semester of 2023. And I believe that, the plus 14% was without any inflation regarding energy, regarding labor cost. And I really believe that probably we will have less inflation, but very close to 10% again for food this year. And it's a big challenge because it really affects our margin, because we are all fighting to keep our customer and to keep the level of sales. It's big issue also because it will deeply change customer behaviors. It's quite funny because if we look at the end of 2020, we say with the pandemic, we were looking at customer behavior, and it was really the rise of quick commerce. It was, organic food was up with a 2-digit growth. E-commerce, it was exactly the same. And everybody said, customer behavior changed forever. The pandemic changed the customer behavior forever. 2 months of inflation in 2022, everybody is back to promotion, back to normal, pushing his trolley inside the alley and fighting for the best price.
It's true. Yeah.
So it will really it can affect if it lasts for more than 2 years, that level of inflation. I think it will deeply change this time the way customers are behaving and shopping.
Yeah, and talking about the customer behavior, and Yejun, what do you think about your application? You know, under the COVID, everybody goes to online shopping. They don't want to go to the boutique physically. So that they had changed for your business side.
Actually, for us, it's a little bit different. We are kind of special. Why? Because we have two businesses in our company. One is the restaurant food delivery business, and right now it's not our concentration. We are concentrated on the Asian grocery delivery business. So that part, actually, I usually talk with our friends or what we look like. We look like, donc frère en ligne, something like that. But actually, what we are doing is that the service level for all the ethnic communities was very, very low before COVID. You know that for us, you can ask every Asian friends. The last time you will carry very heavy bags and go across the whole city and with a bag from donc frère is when it's happening right now. So, but for French local people, you could easily get merchandise or food very easily, just close to your home, perhaps 5 to 15 minutes walk. So our business is just during the COVID, we find that there exists a type of group or a type of community. Their service level is very low. It's a lot even lower than the common grocery. So that's why we have our business existed. And right now, that from the user experience, even right now we have the inflation, but actually the inflation impact a lot the restaurant food business. Why? Because the restaurant right now they improve a lot. Their price was higher. Every meal is a little bit higher. I think everybody can feel that. So right now for the restaurant food business, that impact a lot. But for our Asian grocery business, that we didn't have the impact yet, because the market is was really underserved, and the penetration is still very, very low.
Okay, great. So thank you for both for the question, challenging question. We are going to the next topic and talking about what could you describe as the main trend of retail industry, for your opinion about the AI, the robots, what kind of this industry?
Yeah, more and more technology. Let's say that robots were really used in the industry in the last 10, 15 years. Now they are coming to retail because their cost was significantly dropped. Now you can have. I was with an American startup a few weeks ago, and they were demonstrated a very small robot that is able to scan all our shelves and to keep track of out of stock, keep track of reliability of price labeling to make sure that you will what we display is the price you will pay at the cash lines, and you rent it for 3,000 euro a month, and it will work like 10 people. It's even something we are not doing. It means that we will be able to check many times a day our level of out of stocks and the quality of our price labeling. So it will really help improving our operations. And it's just one example. Our robotics will change that. Robotics will also help for picking and preparation of order. So there is many startups offering now small robots really able to pick almost any item. I think there is only eggs and maybe bananas that they cannot pick, and you have to keep picking with your human hands, and that will really also improve our efficiency on picking and preparing order, and that may change and improve a lot our business model regarding deliveries. And the last thing is about software and AI. There is more and more companies offering software dedicated to retail based on AI and prediction and so on. So we partner with Relax, which is Estonian startup. No, it's a
fintech company.
Yeah. It's more than a startup. It's really a scale up, and it really help improving our operations. You've got a French company named In the Memory who offer software to tailor-made your assortment, your pricing, also with AI, and you can really save. You improve by 60% your efficiency in reviewing your assortment. So that's really the big trend that will affect retail.
And what to think about the workers, because they are afraid of sometimes or in the future the robot will replace the laborers. What do you think about that?
First, yes, it will happen. It will change many things. AI. It means that robots or computer, plus computer vision. We should not forget about computer vision. It really allow computer to make, some tasks that they were not able to do, and they will make those tasks with much more efficiency than humans. And that, I think it's responsibilities for company to tell the truth to the worker, not to say, okay, don't worry, and one day we decided that we will use robots and we will lay off people. So we've got in our company, we've got plan. We explain where technology and which jobs can be at stake. And at the same time, we've got, for instance, we know that we've got too many cashiers, because with self-checkout, self-scanning and so on, we will use less cashiers. But at the same time, we are lacking of people working in fresh food, in bakery, in pastry, in fish section, in meat section. So we start our own school, and we are reskilling people. I think it's really the responsibility of companies and of employers to reskill, not to tell the people you will do the exact same job for the next 40 years. That's a lie. Everybody knows it will not happen. So you have to tell the truth to your employee, and you have to set up the means and give them the means to reskill and to manage their own employability.
Yeah, it's true. So I think we're run out of time. So yes, thank you so much for your opinion about the future industry and AI. Marcel, please. And the next question, the keywords.
Go ahead. So we all have lived a year full of challenges. So what is your keywords for 2022, and what is your keyword for the upcoming new year? I will share maybe mine. In 2022 is change. As I have changed many changes in my personal life, working life, and for the 2023 could be pivot. So I want to pivot in my career. Yeah. So and yours, maybe start by Ludovic.
Alors, I was thinking when you asked the question about the company, so maybe it's not as personal as the one you mentioned, but 2022 was really about adjusting to inflation, and it was really a big challenge for us. And really 2023, it's to live with inflation, because we thought that it was, it will vanish very quickly. Not the case, and we have to review many things, and we are really doing the business to live with.
Thank you. And Yejun?
For me to describe, to use a word to describe 2022, I would like to use concentration, because we were really concentrating on our business, and that's why we successfully, continuing raising the fund, 10 million invested by Carrefour and Banco Pluriga and Cathay, etc. And 2023, I want to use a word is exciting. Yeah. Because I think yes, we have the inflation, we have a lot of difficulty, we have a lot of challenging, but the year is really exciting. It's year of rabbit. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So let's shift to the Q&A time. If you feel more comfortable with French, so you can ask questions by French, and we will translate. Okay. Has questions?
Hello everyone. I'm Ke-Xin, alumni of SKEMA class of 2021 from MSc, Master of Science, International Marketing and Business Development. I'm very happy to be here listening to your sharings for two guests. So actually, I do have a question for you. Is that from Ludovic, you think that all the technology and e-commerce will not kill the retail offline for the physic, but I wonder, do all of this high technology, the e-commerce, it has or is influencing your projects of for example, the increase of the number of your physical stores in 2023?
Yes, that's a good question. Yes, I think the last 4 years we only opened 10 new stores. 8 of them were convenience stores, so smaller store offering full experience offline and online with quick commerce. So definitely, even though I'm really convinced that technology will help developing retail, but will not kill existing retail. But honestly, I don't think that we will keep on opening new square meter for food retail. I believe that in France and in Western Europe, we are well enough equipped with offline store, but there is still some retailer, still opening new store. I'm thinking about Action or Primark or even Decathlon. They are all of them opening new store. Costco is still opening new store also in France. So it really depends when you are at which stage of your development.
Okay, so you think even with all of this influence, you will not stop your step by opening new stores, for example, in the real life physical stores, right?
We might. I don't think we will open a lot of new stores. Okay. After, it depends on opportunities, but honestly, we are focusing more on pivoting the business with developing digitalization and e-commerce sales than really thinking about developing our sales by new square meter.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer.
Good evening, everyone. So actually, I'm not from this campus. I'm from Sofia Antipolis, and I just graduated. I mean, during the past 2 years, I studied in SKEMA and majoring luxury and fashion management. And at the same time, also studying Imperial College London. And actually, that major was artificial intelligence. So actually, it's been a long time we all talk about artificial intelligence, but I just wondering, do you think it has it's quite practical to use artificial intelligence in new retail, or it's just something quite theoretical?
Actually, I have a lot of friends, you know, that they are working in the AI domain. You know, even for our company, for the last mile delivery part, we need to use the AI. You know, there are a lot of small parts in the retail. We need to use AI, but you know, for instance, in the warehouse, the robotic, they are using AI, the last mile delivery, and sometimes if we are suggesting new things, you have to, you know, Alibaba Cloud, they have a library that you can give him a picture, and then he could give you all the product that in the platform. So all of these development, they are using AI. I think it will help a lot in the retail domain. Yeah, Ludovic.
I think it's really the mix of computer vision is very important for retail because it will really help robots and many process that depends on which item. If you want to develop robots that will pick items to prepare order, this robot needs to recognize which item is picking, just to make sure he will use the right process to pick it. So it's really a mix with robotics, AI, computer vision, and deep learning, because in one hypermarket it's 45,000 SKU, so you need computers that will learn fast new SKU, new items. So that mix will help a lot. But I really believe a lot in computer vision. It will change for physical retail. It will change a lot. Yeah.
All right, thank you a lot for your answer. And I have a second one. It's a little bit personal for Yejun, because I saw a post about you're trying to hire like a CEO assistant in your company. I want to know, like, is that still available?
Yes. Yes, the position is still opening. Yeah.
Glad to see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Posted on the SKEMA Alumni website. No.
Last question before.
Hi, I'm Patricia. I'm actually a student from SKEMA MBA, and I have a question. You talked about innovation, AI, and so on. What about the new organizations, the new trends of new managements, new structures being set in place? Were there any good examples from the China experience you had that you wanted to put in place in the company now? Are there actually new things are actually influencing your way of managing, making the decisions? So because this is all changing as well, and I'm wondering how this is actually impacting traditional companies in traditional areas, just like retail.
So I already talked about the focus and the way to manage long term and short term. Honestly, regarding company organization, I cannot say that I experience a new model in China. I would say that the company was far away of the Chinese model. All the company, I mean, even Alibaba are very well structured with a very clear hierarchy inside the company. So no, I believe there is more, and sorry to say so, more inspiring model regarding leadership and organization for that probably in the States. I think they are still in advance regarding that than for what I observe in China. But you know, organization, the way you think your company and you structure it, it's very cultural also. That's why I believe it's like for a business model and for a company organization, it's very deeply linked to your culture, the way you're seeing the world, the way you imagine the relationship between people, and it really depends.
Also very hierarchical.
Yeah, alors, I have the opportunity to work in a company where responsibilization, autonomy of manager is very, very important. And it was also the case with my previous company. So yeah, we have to change things. We have to adapt. So for instance, this afternoon, I was discussing with my general manager in France, and we were discussing about how we can still attract new talent while working Saturday, Sunday, while working 5 days and sometimes 6 days a week, at a time where people want to hear about remote working, about working 4 days a week. So we will have to adjust. That's the reality. We can say no way. No, it will happen. So it's we have no choice, and we need to find solution and to change organization to be able to offer such a schedule and such a way of life. So yeah, organization are living structure, so they have to evolve or they will disappear.
Okay, Ludovic, thank you, Yejun. So I think maybe it is very short. In fact, for this big topic, retail from China to France. So I want to express our thankfulness to you again, Ludovic and Yejun, to accept our invitation. It's very inspiring. Maybe let's catch up next time. And I want to express our thankfulness to our teammates, Haitian, Liu Yi, and Wang Chao. They work all in Luxembourgeois institutions in the finance sector. And I want to express my thankfulness to SKEMA Alumni, Audrey and Isabelle, for your strong support. And our very famous photographer, Li Xiang, is behind, and his partner Qian Yu. They work for the very big fashion magazine. So it's our pleasure to have you here in the on the event. And thanks for Chinese Silk Road Association for your support.